Hey everybody, I am AR Mar, and what I watched today is Book 2, Chapter 16 of Avatar The Last Airbender, Appa's Lost Days. So this is it. This is the episode that tells us what happened to Appa in all this time. We start off with the moment of Appa's kidnapping, finding out that it's been roughly 4 weeks since the incident happened. This scene has new material that wasn't in the original episode. We see a bit more of Appa struggling against his captors, trying to get away, and we see it more from his side. Whereas last time we focused more on Toph and her attempts to keep the tower up while not being able to protect Appa. And again, it's a really well done scene, and it's kind of fun seeing Appa trying to fight back, but ultimately losing against these men who are much more experienced with the sand. And, they drag him away for a while, and then when they think they're at a safe distance, they ransack Appa's saddle, and, they're like, what's this? There's no treasure, it's all junk. And it's like, well, yeah, it's just our crew's belongings. They're kids, and they're not on a, they're not on a cruise. They're trying to save the world, so yeah, they don't have a lot of, extra stuff, just what they need. And while they're doing this, some sand irritates Appa's nose, and he launches a sand glider into a sand dune, and that's the sand sailor that Toph trips over later. So that's kind of a cool little way everything connects. And during these sequences, the sand guy who confessed to stealing Appa in the Avatar episode, we find out he really is just that much of a dick. He's really not a nice guy. But then again, he's a thief, so, potato, potato. And, yeah. They take him to a group of merchants with these really cool beetle hats and, this big beetle-like creature. It is huge. They use him to pull Appa onto this cool little skiff with, wooden bits that come in and, clamp down on Appa. You can tell these are the kind of guys who trade in large animals. They are prepared for this. They aren't prepared for how at this moment that Appa hears the bison whistle. This is the exact moment when Aang was flying around with his glider in the desert trying to find Appa. Appa hears the bison whistle and tries to escape. He starts flying even with this contraption holding him down. Unfortunately, before he can get far enough, they manage to hit him with a bunch of darts with this sleep poison on it, and he goes down hard. They sell him to a circus, and the animal trainer is, just a vicious ass. He, he shows Appa one of the other animals doing tricks, tries to deny Appa food, going, it's if you obey me, you get to eat. Of course, Appa being Appa, he just uses, his own airbending, more or less, to pull the cabbages over to him and suck them up into his mouth, and it is just a funny little scene. He is Aang's animal to the end, and he will defy any other human who tries to mess with him. And I'm pretty sure this is Ty Lee's old circus. The ringmaster looks very familiar. And, it's later that night, the ringmaster declares, either the Sky Bison performs tonight or you get a new job. And so, the animal trainer manages to beat him into, using firebending partially into pretty much cooperating. But partly thanks to the encouragement of the little boy in the audience that reminds Appa of Aang, he's able to defy the cruel firebender and escape, but not without cost. He has these heavy manacles attached to his legs, making it even harder for him to fly and tiring out Appa so much. I feel so bad for Appa in this episode. And I gotta say, kudos to the animators and the writers of this story. Even before this episode, I cared for Appa, and that made this episode so much more strong. It hurt when Appa went missing. I understood Aang's pain so well. And now seeing, how much Appa went through in these days, it's dang, the feels, man. Appa flies back to where the library used to be and even starts digging a little, hoping to find Aang and company there. And then he flies off in search of both his friends and something to eat, because he's both, so hungry and tired by now. He tries to eat a cactus, and he learns quite fast what those thorns are for. But, you know, he was desperate, so he had to try. He even happens on the buzzard hive that Aang and company found, and, like, he flies in looking for food and gets chased out by a swarm of the creatures. He barely manages to get away, and, like, you know, he licks a bit of the honey off himself, but then he keeps flying on looking for his friends, and eventually settles upon a farm, eating their hay and holing up in their barn. Like, you know, Appa is just tired at this point. He's so desperate just to find a safe-looking place to sleep. And, like, oh wow, like, again, I feel so bad for him in this episode. The people who own the farm come in and find him, and, you know, they freak out. They're like, ah, it's a monster! They chase him off with fire, and again, like, the fear in Appa's face, like, I feel so bad for him. But there's one good thing that comes out of this night. He dreams of Aang, and the first time he met Aang as a calf. I gotta say, calves of Appa's race are super adorable. We learn a little bit about airbender culture. Apparently, children and sky bisons bond at a young age. And they even imply that Aang's having this same dream at the same time. And this coincides with the night that Aang and company spent on the Serpent's Pass. I like these little asides to Aang, showing us a rough timeline of where Appa was at each moment and how long he was held at certain places. So it gives us like a sort of, you know, it gives us a good timeline to work with, and it really reaches the title, Appa's Lost Days. It's like, okay, while Aang was going this way, Appa was over here. And I really like that touch. So after he's chased off from the farm, Appa flies over the refugee ship that Iroh and Zuko are on. Iroh spots him, but Zuko's asleep, and Iroh decides not to tell Zuko. And you can see, like, the look in Iroh's face. Iroh is like, you know, Iroh has been hopeful that with this whole refugee thing, Zuko might be putting the past in the Avatar and this obsession that's been destroying him behind him. But at the same time, like, yeah, Iroh wants to protect Zuko. He doesn't want Zuko knowing that the Avatar could be so close, because all he sees is Appa. He doesn't know that the Avatar's not with Appa. And yeah, I love that little, like, aside to Iroh's character, like, that little, like, reminder that Iroh is trying to protect Zuko. He sees him as a second son. And this time, he's not going to fail his son. After that little emotional thing with Iroh last episode, that really hits me hard. Anyway, back to Appa's little journey. He lands at the mouth of a cave right away, and he's attacked by this large, like, porcupine boar. And it is an impressive fight between the two, but Appa gets quite a few quills stuck in him. And wow, like, they are really putting Appa through the ringer, and it looks so painful. He manages to drive the beast away and claim its cave for his own. But, like, it's clear he is just drained. Like, he lies there for a couple days, pretty much unable to move. And, like, wow. You almost think that this is the end of it. Like, how is Appa going to recover from this? But then, as, like, on the second or third day the sun rises, we find a bunch of people, very familiar people, picking berries on a bush. And this is when the episode starts getting hopeful again. It's Suki and the warriors of Kyoshi. Suki and the others find Appa's fur on a bush, and Suki follows the trail that he left to the cave, sorry, not cage. And, you know, she finds him, and, you know, Appa is, like, wary of her, because of course he is. Every person he's encountered in the last few days has hurt him. But she leaves some food for him, and she promises to return with help. He eats the food warily and then waits, and she returns with the other warriors of Kyoshi, gently and carefully, like, you know, approaching him, helping him keep Appa at ease, and, like, you know, basically going, it's okay, Appa, you know me, it's me, Suki, I'm not here to hurt you, let me help you. And Appa, like, you know, Appa eventually recognizes her and kind of lets her touch him, and we cut to them having fixed Appa up, like, you know, gotten the quills out of him, gotten those damn shackles off him, And he looks so much better for it. Both happier because humans are finally helping him, and, of course, happier because those damn quills are out of his skin and no longer hurting him. And from what we've learned of Avatar lore so far, it does seem that the Avatar spirit animal is very important to who they are. It's very connected to their existence. Like, previously in Season 1, we found, like, Avatar Roku's spirit animal was this cool dragon thing. I'm guessing pretty much every Avatar has had a spirit animal companion to go by their side that reflects them and their element. So, really cool bit there, and, like, I'm glad that, like, Suki and the others were able to help him. Suki even said, like, it's like, helping the Avatar Sky Bison could be our most important mission yet. And it kind of, like, hits home again just how important the Avatar is to this world. And, like, how much respect they have for the Avatar, because, they've been raised basically honoring Avatar Kyoshi. And Avatar Kyoshi is so far one of my favorite previous incarnations of the Avatar. She rocks. Like, just totally rocks. And not long after they have finished healing Appa, they're attacked by Azula and her gang. The warriors, of course, pull their fans and reveal these awesome arm shields that, like, fold out into a shield shape from a smaller concealed thing. And that is so cool. I love, like, weapon tech like that. Completely unrealistic, but so awesome, and it fits so well in this world. They fight to protect Appa, but they are really outmatched by Azula and her girls. I kind of wish the Kyoshi were given, like, a bit more chance to shine in this episode instead of just being overwhelmed so easily. I mean, they are warriors raised from a young age to fight in the tradition of their village. Like, I get that Azula and her crew are really, like, strong, fierce warriors, but I would have loved to see more of a, big thing between all of them. Though, in a way, I get it. This is Appa's episode. We can't really overshadow him. And Suki's, like, kind of going, like, no, Appa, run, find the Avatar, get away. It's not safe here. Go. We'll be okay. And, like, there's at least one moment there where Azula's like, you're right, it's not safe. And as Appa flees, we freeze on, like, Suki and Azula engaging each other in combat. And they leave us on that cliffhanger. We'll probably find out how that ends later. And, yeah, it's at this point that Appa flies for, like, a few more days and nights. Arriving at what we find out is the Eastern Air Temple. And judging by the way this place is built and the memories it triggers in Appa, it seems like this might have been where Appa was born as a pup. Like, maybe the Eastern Air Temple is where they practiced the animal husbandry, and then, like, they sent the Sky Bisons once they were bonded to other air temples. I mean, it's implied that Aang hasn't lived at the one air temple his entire life. So maybe he lived here when he was younger, and that's where he met Appa and bonded with him. And while he's there, he finds this funny old man. Initially, he's angry at him because, even though the warriors helped him, he still doesn't trust humans, especially ones he doesn't know. And so he knocks the man over initially, though, thinking he's Aang, and then, he's like, you're not Aang! And, like, super angry, and this lasts for about a day or two. And the old man's just lying there on the ground, being like, waiting for Appa to calm down. And eventually, of course, Appa falls asleep from sheer exhaustion. And this is when the man walks over to him and sort of, like, feels him over and goes, so much fear and mistrust that should be that are where your love for others should be. Like, he basically says, like, wow, such a bad ordeal, and he uses whatever, like, ability it is he has to calm Appa and give him better dreams. He then leaves a trail of food for Appa, eventually leading the beast to where the old man's just sort of meditating and feeding other animals. A bit later, Appa, starts calming down even more and trusting this old man and lays beside him, to sleep one night. And it's about here where the old man, like, kind of speaks to Appa and goes, may I attach a message for Aang to your horn? Appa just sort of nods, and the old man does it, and he's like, thank you. And then he says something really cool, which lends to my, like, spirit animal theory there. Your energy and the avatars are mixed. He basically says that they are bound inexorably together. That they will always be, like, connected by this strong bond. And he reveals that he can help Appa locate Aang through Appa's own energy and this bond. And that is really cool. Like, I love seeing these abilities that don't fall under bending in the Avatar universe. Admittedly, this could be a bending ability, and we just don't know what school. I mean, we already know that water bending can influence the chi paths of the body to promote healing. So maybe this is another form of water bending. We're not sure. But still, it was really cool. And yeah, so he shows Appa the way, and we cut right to Appa arriving at Ba Sing Se. He hears what he thinks is the bison whistle, but we're shown that Aang is fast asleep. He's lured into a trap by the head of the secret police. And just before he's captured, he makes the paw print that Momo lays down in after. So yeah, those jerks have Appa. But Momo found the paw print, so maybe when our main characters find Momo, we'll get a little resolution, and I really hope so soon, because Aang and Appa belong together. Anyhow, this was, like I said before, this was a fantastic episode. I'm so glad that they showed us a bit more of, like, what happened to Appa. Gave us this, like, little aside that so many series would be like, oh, why would we waste time with the side character? It's like, no, every character is important. Every story, every thread is important. Every bit makes up the tapestry. And makes it so much more emotionally powerful when something happens. The connections that bind everyone together make for so much better a story than if we only had the one thread of Aang. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next episode.